Hi, this is Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart, and this is video number 2 for Friday, October 18th, 2019's mid-session update covering trade ideas. It's 12:15 Eastern as I'm doing the video. Where I left off on the last one, I covered the equity markets. I told you I'd do trade ideas in a separate video. And there's QQQ. It's hit that trend line, the bottom of the channel, but as I said in that one, I favor more downside to at least here the top of the gap right here. You have a lot of support around about 190 and change, or yeah, just below 191, 190.85 or so. And keep an eye on that. That's where I think we'll probably hold today. But although small caps just broke down too, and I covered that in the last video. So let me move on and get to the trade ideas. So we'll start with the pot stocks. And there's a lot of buzz. I put out several official trade ideas, and they're down today. And this is again, you know, if I wanted to share this on a related note, the comments on the site. I am working on implementing a new comment system. I'm kind of excited to get this going. There's a few bugs to work out, but what it will do, and you know, my goal here is there's just so much information on the site. I get the same questions put to me all the time, and believe me, guys, I don't mind. That's what I'm here for. That's why you're a member of the site if you have a question. But a lot of times those same answers can be found somewhere else in the site. So I'm going to make the search function a little more clear and show you how to use that search function. It's great for finding the latest updates on any security that you have a question on, if there is one. If there's not, then you throw it out to me. But under the front page post, like here's the Beyond Meat. I'm going to get to that trade in a second here. There's been a thread since that. I should say this was a trade idea update video from the 16th, in which I covered that among other. These are all the here's all the stocks that I covered right there. And so just a quick heads up, and I don't want to digress too much here, but when any post on the front page, if you look down below the post, you will see this thing says tags. These are hyperlinks. You can click on any one of these, and these are, what I do is include all securities covered in that post have a hyperlink. So if I click on BYND, I'm not going to do it right now because I want to get down to show you the new comment section. It'll then load all front page posts, not trading room, but front page posts. You need to use the search icon to find mentions of things in the trading room. But that's one way to find what you're looking for on any security. Now, because BYND was covered in here, that is fair game. Any questions, updates on any of the trade ideas covered in here should be posted below that thread. Or if I do another update, this one now, I'm going to cover BYND. So then going forward, ideally the comments should be under that one. Now the problem with that is if you are in that trade or like to be in it, watching it, it's easy to miss these replies. People ask questions, and I make comments too all the time after a front page post. Things that for example, I didn't cover the euro and US dollar in that video, and I'm still bearish on the dollar, bullish on the euro. So I talked about that in there. And what I wanted to say is, now this is I've got to work a bug out here. I'm not receiving emails. Maybe you guys are. Let me know if you go to any of the front page posts. If it's a topic you like, if you didn't like anything in here, no problem. You're not going to get emails on anything. But if you say, I like, and I'd like to be notified if there's any updates on Bitcoin futures or Bitcoin, because that was covered in the video. Come here. Go to subscribe. Now I've already subscribed, so I'm gonna have to. It'll give you an option to subscribe to any new comments that come in on this thread since you've been in here and read it. Now, if you clear out your cookies in the site, it's not going to know that you've already read them, but on your browser, I mean. Otherwise, if you click subscribe and you've read everything, any new comments that come in at that point, it'll send you an email with a link to it, and that's and I think the whole comment too. I've got to work that out. You can also elect to receive only replies under a comment you made. So let's say you don't want to hear everybody's 2 cents on this or questions they have, but you ask, let's say, me a question, and you want to then be notified when a reply is made to your comment, either by me or somebody else. You can also then select that from there. And there's some other bells and whistles. I'm not going to get into it now. You can sort them by newest, oldest. You can thumbs up, vote it down. You can sort them by the most popular and see what the hottest comments are, or the hottest comment thread. There's a settings icon here. You can follow people, that little RSS feed icon when you see those 3 bars. If you like Shane Shane B23. You like Shane's post, Shane's questions, whatever reason, click that and you can then follow Shane. I'll do that now. And so now I'm following Shane. So anytime Shane posts anything new on the front page, I will get a notification, then I can check out his what he's saying. Okay, let's move on. Sorry guys, I had to stop the video there. I wanted to reverse my NQ short. Told you in the last video that I, was expecting, initially looking to target that trend line, but small caps had broken down too, and based on some other things that I've covered in that video, I was going to hold out for a kiss to the top of the gap there. And so this is just active trading stuff. So I've reversed my NQ short to a long there, and I expect at least a reaction off the top of the gap. But if they get well into it, then I'll stop out somewhat below, give it room for a little move down, and if they do that, then it opens the door for a move with a gap backfill. But as of now, I think this is most likely what we're going to see for the very near term, and just game a little bounce, which I might even close the long out before the video's over. All right, back to the trade ideas. Didn't want to get too far off topic, but I just wanted to explain that. Oh, there's that last video. Sorry, it just popped up. I was uploading the last video from YouTube that I'm trying to get out to you guys on the market, and YouTube just it just got uploaded. So let me stop and get that one out. Now, second thought, it takes a little while to process, a few minutes to process at YouTube. I'm just going to get to the charts here real quick. All right, I'm going to talk fast. MJ. MJ did pop and triggered an entry yesterday above $20, and that kind of brings me back to what I was saying in the comments section. When you go to MJ, for example, click on the tag, it's going to load all posts related to MJ right now. Every post you see here. And so again, this will be where, updates, you might have updates on the marijuana stocks. Let's see, there's 6 comments here, and any questions there, Tilray and all that. You will then be able to see questions that others have had, or any additional comments that I might have on the cannabis stocks before I do the next update. Now, in those comments and questions, as well as within the trading room, I've said this several times in the last few days, there's still work to be done. Yes, MJ broke out. It wasn't super impulsively. Yes, ACB broke out, and that triggered a long entry as well. But as I said, there's work to be done. I watch the sector collectively. I like to see what all the stocks are doing, not just one or two breaking out. And so far, they're in an uptrend. So I had a near-term uptrend line that was broken today, and MJ is down. So 2 takeaways from this. If you're saying, wow, marijuana stocks are down 3.25%, that's very bearish. They're going to new lows. First of all, I would say that thought process is flawed. That is the typical run-of-the-mill moves in this ETF. This is one of the most volatile sectors out there. You're not trading Treasury bonds. You're not even trading the S&P 500. These are cannabis stocks, marijuana stocks. Many of these stocks go up or down 10% or more in any given day when they're rallying or when they're in correction mode. So I just want to put things in perspective. And the other thing, if you're saying, oh gosh, I took this trade and I'm feeling pain, this is crazy, my losses are big, then you've taken too much. That's why I had a downsize beta adjust to position size on this trade to account for the above average volatility. So with that being said, there's an old saying, Wall Street, sell down to the point at which you can sleep at night. But with that being said, let me just give you the quick technicals. Nothing much has changed. You could call that a failed breakout, but it wasn't. The breakout came right here. So the 20 was a level that I thought the cannabis stocks MJ would run if it took out. It kind of took it out yesterday, but again, not a big impulsive green candle, not on super high volume, and so not really much of a breakout, or not a confirmed breakout. The breakout already happened. The breakout came here. We had a breakout of this trend line. We back tested it, and while we were back testing, we set up a parallel trend line, a price channel. That was your breakout right here, and that came after the divergent low. So from this is longer term bullish what happened in here. This is the near term trend right now. We're making a series of higher highs and higher lows, and if you want a security that has the potential to run 10, 20, 30% or more, you're going to have to ride out these 3% pullbacks. Now, This could certainly morph into more. This trade could come on down and get stopped out, and if it does, so be it. Move on to the next one. It's just one of many trades, and that's how I trade. Don't become emotionally attached. You move on to the next one. But as of now, I just want to say it looks fine. There's a little bit of support right here. I'll add a line. You can see why I'm doing this, because we had these previous reaction lows, right? You had one right here, previous reaction low early October, and then several right here. So ideally it should reverse now. That will also keep the near-term uptrend intact. Don't want to put too much emphasis. Lately I've been talking about these, how to define an uptrend series of higher highs and higher lows. It's not always so simple. In other words, if we take out these previous lows, doesn't mean, oh, that near-term uptrend's over and we're going to come crashing down. Maybe it's not a good sign. You want to ideally see, the security continue to make higher highs and higher lows in the near term. But as of now, that's, like I said, nothing much has changed technically on this. I'm viewing this as just a pullback, and like any trade, that's the stop. I'm not going to revise that stop as of now. We'll see what happens, but let's take a look at some of the other ones. I'm not going to go over the whole sector either, because that would take too long. I'm just going to go over the big ones, are the ones that I've highlighted as trade ideas recently. ACB, same story. I thought it would run over 384. It did break out, but it was not an impulsive breakout, and I talk about that all the time. Ideally, you want to see a breakout occur on 1.5 times or better your average volume. I'm talking about the 60 to 90 day average volume. Most brokers will give you that on their your trading platform. And or you can see it, you'll see big volume surge. So as of now, it failed that, and it has failed this breakout of this trend line, although this trend line was marginal. Why? Because we only had, well, the starting point, 2 and not even 3 reactions. This wasn't a reaction. We went up there, and a reaction would have been if we pulled back. So we really never even had that third reaction to validate it. This was our trend line, and just like MJ, this is the bigger picture that's formulating where I think these cannabis stocks go. We had a breakout back here, back test number 1, back test number 2, came a little bit below, but we put in this divergent low. So bottom line is there's still some work to be done. Near-term trend is up, still bullish, and there's a very near-term trend from this point. This is your primary trend coming into it, and like I said, made very clear, these are counter-trend trades. They run a higher risk of failure because they are counter-trend trades. When you go long a stock in a bear market or downtrend, you have a much higher risk of failure. Needs to get a little more upside, and I think once we get it, if we get it, then you'll start to see that short covering rally that could really send these guys up. And so that's it. Not much more to say on that right now. Let's look at that daily, because I think that one had a, no, is it, yeah, ACBB on the daily chart. Yeah, another way to look at this on the daily chart. Here's that same trend line I had before. Breakout, back test right now. We're back testing the trend line on the daily. MJ, did I show you the daily? I don't think I did. Breakout of the trend line, still above it right now. So from a technical perspective, still looks good to me. But again, these are aggressive stocks. Just don't go crazy on your position size. Don't see dollar signs because there's 20-30% upside on some of these. Just keep your position size intact, and don't get married to the trades if they don't pan out. Tilray still looks great. Never hasn't even broken out and give us a buy signal yet. Not on the daily chart. We need to see a solid breakout, a big green candle, impulsive. You'll know it when you see it. Above average volume, and then a lot of upside potential there. And that's the trend line here on the 60-minute chart. And what I'll do is I can sharpen this, tighten this trend line up, come in, catch right at that reaction high, this reaction high right near there, and now that's where we're at. So Tilray has a little more work to be done, but this is still a bullish technical chart pattern, poised to break out. So they're down today, and so is the stock market. That's not always the case. Usually these guys march to their own drum beat, but today they're selling off with the broad market. Okay, I had to pause the video there. The other first video of the day I wanted to get out to you guys. It's finished processing at YouTube, so I just posted that. And let's see where we're at. And just go off topic for a second. Yeah, there's that. We're still holding, so far holding that line right around there, right around that gap support there, 190.86. So again, you should have now have that video, and this is where the markets are probably likely to bounce today. But again, if they go down much below, maybe a backfill. I just put the odds pretty low on a Friday. Anyways, all right, let's get back to trade ideas. That's it for the pot stocks. So I'll update them as of now. Like I said, the case that that I made to go long recently is still intact, and the fact they're down today is not really any technical damage or anything to negate that. If it continues, at the rate it's going today, in a few days, sure, we'll probably be stopped out. But if not, I still like them. All right, BYND. BYND was a catch a falling knife trade at gap support. Took a starter position, and that's another thing. Comments, when you go in the comment section, somebody asks, hey Randy, it's in the gap, and so excuse me, yesterday I told them, what I'll do, I let it ride a little because I only took a starter position at the top, and then I said if it went down any more today, I would sell it out, and I did that this morning. It gapped down and was heading down. I just let it go, but I do plan to buy it back again. Another starter position, wouldn't go heavy. I said I'd go in at about what I say earlier today, 108, I think. Yeah, 108 I'm looking at. I have the gap support around a little bit above 106, and I think a lot of eyes are going to be on that level, so I think the buyers are going to step in early, most likely. 60-minute charts not looking so hot right now. If it reverses soon, it might have divergence here on the RSI, but in this case I think you're going to see, like I said, buyers come in. It was a hot stock before. When it was here, I've had 3 trades on this all year, and each one was shared in the trading room. Nailed the first short right here. The biggest drop the stock had at that point was it here or here, and both of them hit my targets. This one, yeah, this was a longer term target. I cashed out on the last short. That's what it was. I think right here. Nailed that bottom, and here, and you can find those trades if you use the search icon, type in BYND, and then here, although that was my longer term target, now I didn't write it down all that way, thank goodness, because it would have went underwater here. But I think a lot of eyes are going to be on it, and what I had said at the time too is this stock was way overhyped. It's like a lot of these IPOs, and and everybody says, yeah, they make a better veggie burger, but what I said is Tyson, all these other companies are going to be right behind them. They see how popular this company is, all these contracts they're getting. It's not hard for other companies. You can't patent a veggie burger. You can patent your little seasoning and spices like KFC's secret seasoning mix, but you can't patent good taste. And so my point was, and I've already seen it, it's already come to fruition, they're flooding the market with other higher. It's just the other companies are stepping up their game. That's all it is. So anyways, yeah, long term, what I'm trying to get at here is I'm just looking for a tactical trade. I certainly don't care. I don't think the stock will see those highs for a long time, if ever. So at this point in time, I'm just looking for a bounce trade, and it'll be the same thing. I'll buy it just above the bottom of the gap again, and set a stop somewhat below. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, so be it. Move on to the next one. And targets are still what I had said before. I believe I had said my target would be up right around just under 150. You have both the downtrend line coming in. The fibs have changed now. I have to change that level. Before you had a fib there. So let's say it goes a little bit lower. We may not. I'll have to play around with the Fibonacci's depending on where it reverses. And I may also, you can see that 38.2 fib comes in now, or 23.6 fib comes in right around these reaction lows, 136, and that might be should I take another position soon, should go a little lower, and even if it goes higher, may not backfill the gap, may reverse, get back above the gap. Here's still a downtrend line it needs to take out, and if so, then again, short squeeze counter trend trade in store for BYND. Okay, the frequency of updates on gold and precious metals has certainly come back, and again, the reason is, make no mistakes about it, we're in a big sideways consolidation range. We've been in it for months now. Let's look at GC gold futures. This is it right here. It's been plenty of swing trading, active trading ops to be made between. 1492 was a big level, was broken once, regained. It's been chipped below recently, and so now, and I believe, yes, I did post this chart for you guys this morning. Levels to watch right here. You have a potential triangle pattern with a secondary uptrend line right there. So I'm leaning this way. especially if we see more downside to the market. When we broke down, we got those short-term sell signals today, but they also come, remember, we're looking for that backfill or the test at the top of the gap. I think we'll backfill that gap too. I think we'll get a little bounce, and I plan to be short, probably swing down to the bottom of the gap. Why? Because we just put in divergent highs on the 60-minute time frames. My convictions aren't so high, only because of the proximity we are to new highs and with earnings coming up here. But if that happens, even if it doesn't, sometimes gold, like it did earlier this year, can rally when the stock market's rallying. Everybody was getting into it because they saw the writing on the wall, and they still do. Gold's held up relatively well. Remember, it's certainly down off its highs from earlier this year right here, but it's correcting more so in time than in price. I talk about that a lot, that stocks can correct in one of two ways. Nothing goes up forever. It's not healthy to see a parabolic or a straight up advance that gets extremely overbought. That usually leads to crashes in a security. The healthiest thing for any stock or security to do is go up, and here's the last bull market in gold, and going back, this is back into 2010, it was already in a bull market. You have these corrections along the way. It works out the excesses. There's excessive exuberance, brings in maybe some more shorts to cover, to squeeze to get the next leg up, and it shakes out the weak-handed longs and brings in a new set of buyers that buy the pullback that are a more stable base of holders. They're not going to get shaken out as easy. And again, it's just simply the nature of any trend. You're going to have counter-trend rallies. So gold is in a bull market, has been since late 2015. There's no arguing that. In percentage terms, or looking at this chart. And as I said, it looks to be potentially forming a bull flag continuation pattern. Maybe, maybe not. Still needs to break out. Work to be done. But I'm keeping a close eye on it. And I will say this, that if you are a long-term investor, and I've been bullish on gold throughout this run, with tactical shorts and covering, selling longs here and there at certain levels, but overall persistently bullish, long-term bullish since back here, and now I don't think this is confirmation bias. I'm looking at the chart. If the chart told me that the run was over, the bull market was likely over, I would say okay, and that's it. I can't make that case. I can only make a case that gold is correcting. If it were to pull back, let's say the market does break out to new highs and goes up 3, 4, 5% or more above the recent highs, gold could possibly pull all the way back here to 130. If it did, that would be a great buying opportunity. It would still keep the primary longer term trend intact. So I'll stay flexible. As of now, I'm watching this flag type action, and like I said, it's, to me, gold has been very resilient in spite of very bearish technicals. Remember, these were all pointed out back at the time. We had a divergent high there, and we corrected, but much more so in time. It wasn't a steep correction in price. Here, this was a big divergent high right there, big, strong negative divergence, and we took out the uptrend line right there. And what happened? Well, we corrected. The divergences are playing out as they usually do, but not for a big drop. Normally you see a divergent high like that, and that's the end of the run. And so my point is, again, that gold has been very resilient in spite of bearish technicals, and that is the trait of a bull market. The stock market, for example, bearish chart patterns in recent years have played out. We've identified every divergent high on the daily chart. They've all played out for a correction, but they've been, bought up, and market kind of inched its way up to new highs. And so that seems to be the case right now for gold. So we'll watch it closely. And again, I gave you those levels to watch right there, upside break. Now, where's a downside break would be bearish. You can see the support levels nearby here on gold futures. So bottom line, not a time to be going aggressively long or short gold, but if you're a longer term investor, I think accumulating down here towards the lower end of the trading range around that 1492 level makes sense. And if you're, again, longer term, accumulating, scaling in, not an all-in position, I'd have much more confidence if this gets taken out, because that's probably that same, that is that same top of the bear flag continuation pattern that I showed you on the weekly chart. It looks something like this. That should be something along those lines. On a somewhat related note, another precious metal, I put a chart up, some charts on the front page recently. Again, under this post, if you click on PALL or /PA, which are palladium futures, you will get that post. It'll bring it up, all the analysis on PA. And what I was showing you there is a long-term 20+ year chart showing you the divergences between palladium and platinum. They are very similar. They're considered in the same class of metals. They have similar uses, but palladium has just been much stronger, and it's gotten ahead of itself. So like I said, there's probably a mean reversion coming. There is a mean reversion coming. The big question, will it be platinum playing a game of catch up to the upside, or palladium catching up by going down, or a combination of both? Either way, let's just for now put aside that. The takeaway there, you could do a paired trade. If you had enough capital and enough time and patience, you go long platinum and you short palladium. But either way, near term, I highlighted this 60-minute chart recently. Palladium, it looks like it's starting to crack right here. Below this uptrend line, small wedge, you have a divergent high. Divergence has been building. It's been resilient. I'm going to say that. I've highlighted divergence. I've noted divergence for a while, and each one has played out for a correction, but a very small correction. But the bigger the divergences get, unless they're taken out, then the bigger the drop. So right now you can see some trend lines here. I'd extend that. We could be looking at, there's some horizontal price support here, a pretty decent drop. PA, this sucker moves. I only have one starter position right now, PA, and that's one contract short. It's $171,828 represented on one contract. So if that's not your cup of tea, then you want to add or use the PALL, the Palladium Futures ETF. I'm sorry, the Palladium ETF. They hold and track the futures, but or no, that one actually might hold physical. That might be Sprott's physical. But either way, there's your targets right there, and there's my target. I just want to show you here if this one plays out. And I'll add to it if I can get a little more downside here. I'm looking for a pullback to about 16 right there. You have both uptrend line support coming in and the price support I just showed you there. That would be initial pullback target. Where we go from there, and we'll see how the charts look if we get that. Otherwise, I have a stop just above the recent highs. Okay, and let me tell you, when the top on this one comes, now the thing is, there's some cross currents because I remain, and I'm flexible too, but right now I'm still longer term bullish. Everything I see I think silver or gold, are just in a consolidation correction phase within a bigger bull market, and this is a precious metal, tends to move with them. So I don't know how much downside there is right now. As I just showed you, I'm looking for a tactical near-term swing trade, pullback trade. But here's a daily chart. If you trade PALL, again, that's physical platinum shares. So I believe they hold, they'll hold physical instead of futures. But there's your price channel right here. So what stands out to me, if you're going to trade this one, you have a uptrend line right here. A break of that would give you a sell signal on the daily chart here. You have negative divergence. Palladium, same setup we had back here. I pointed that out at the time. We were building a divergent high. I told you when the sell signal was. In fact, I have those posts here somewhere. Here it is right here. This was posted back on, before I highlighted the breakout, and then after the breakdown, then after that, March 27th, you can see there was your sell signal. We took out both the 142.23 support, and I laid out my targets down here. And then the next update I posted a couple days later, the March 28th. Showed you palladium parked on my first level there, gap down below, had it coming down here, and then hitting 124.43, and the correction should be over at that point. And again, that was back in March, and that was then. This is now. That was this drop here from the highs. That was a drop, even from, let's just say, from the breakdown. That was a drop. That was my lower line. That was my target hit right here. It went just a hair below, and that was a 14% drop. And after that, I pointed out and went long. It was a divergent low, which was bullish, and that was a catalyst for the next leg up. So my point, the technical posture is almost identical as it was back then. You have on the daily chart negative divergence, divergent high. You can even extend, that divergence from this point here right there. You can see this divergence line, which could set the stage for a bigger drop here. So I just want to point that out. There's plenty of room. I certainly wouldn't be chasing that one on the long side. Now, if you already own it long, ride the trend. Just set your stop, and there's a trend line to watch, and even zero down. Go to the 60-minute chart, replicate this trend line off the early August lows right there. There's your uptrend line. And you know, you want to keep buying pullbacks at that level, but a solid break below would likely do the trick and bring palladium down. I'll give you an initial near-term target, 153.40 or so. Okay, here's KC. Haven't given up on this one yet. And I updated again this morning, and nice pop so far in KC. It was about right here. Somewhere in here, and we did break out. We went on to break out, so that's about a 3% lift so far from where it was posted this morning. It seems to just can't get traction, but this breakout might be it. This is what I was looking for. I told you guys that we had a divergent low here. I pointed out recently. It was at support here. It went below. Tried to recover it. It's been bouncing around that 195-ish level right there, and then you had this downtrend line. So we reversed. We took it out, the downtrend line. That sparked more buying, which has now gone on to take out those previous reaction highs. So this is that's a buy signal on coffee, or at least confirmation if you're still in this one, giving it room. And you can see my targets here: first target, second target, and I'm looking more for a potential bottoming play. I'll tell you, these commodities just can't seem to get any traction going. They've been in a bear market. The charts are firming up. Sooner or later, I think they're going to, by run I mean putting in a lasting bottom. We've had plenty of runs here. This was an official trade back here, and I may add it soon as another official trade. It seems to really like, this is JO, the ETF, for you guys that don't trade futures. This is 1, 2. It seems to be holding around this level, and again, we had a divergent low as a basis for this trade back here, and that nice run in coffee right there hit the third target. Like I said at the time, I favored a reversal pullback, book profits there, suggested you might want to if you're an active trader. It did go back longer than I thought, and finally eventually stopped out. If I haven't removed that trade, again, I need to always look at any active trade on the site. Just look at all the updates, and unless I modify the stop ahead of time, if it went below it, it's no longer an active trade. It's just a matter of me doing updates, moving them to the completed trade. But as of now, it may be another official trade soon, because it's put in almost an identical technical posture as last time. Positive divergence at the lows. Right here, bullish divergence. PPO is starting to turn up. If it can go, if JO or coffee can continue to build on these gains, which I think it will, then it should continue to run, and it will confirm those divergences. There's not crazy about the downtrend line, but it's a potential one to watch, and that would help if we broke above that as well. So there's JO. And let's see, 60-minute chart if you want to hone it down. Little minor trend line. Let's move this trend line now. Let's just use this as the divergence line. Point out the 60-minute bullish divergence right here. And so again, maybe just another counter trend bounce trade like here. Divergent low, pop. Divergent low, pop. But at minimum now, since we took out those previous highs, at minimum 32.59. Maybe sell hair below. I think we're going up there, and I would just, like I say, I like it. I think the potential's in for more upside, and when coffee wants to run, it can really run. So I think if you're in this one now, stops a little below the recent lows or so, and maybe just let it ride. If the technicals change, I'll continue to update this one. And finally, UGAZ. Still, I'm not crazy about. It's kind of floundering around here, but it's nothing much has changed. Kind of like the pot stocks. When I covered MJ and those, we had the bigger picture was down here. And I forget about the arrow tool. Imagine that's a trend line tool. We had a divergent low right there. We broke out, and after the breakout, a lot like MJ, we came in and set up a parallel trend line, back testing, and then put in. We didn't have the divergent low here. We had it right here, and so far we're moving up. And like I said, nothing goes straight up forever. There's usually kickbacks. Sometimes NatCast can go pretty much straight up and straight down, but even then, when you look, there's the smaller kickback rallies. So yeah, the fact that it's come back in, it broke this minor uptrend line I had here the other day, and it's below that. Not crazy about that. And what it needs to do at this point, it needs to take out that previous high. We hit the first target there. I posted it that morning, so you had an opportunity to book profits. I know at least one trader did. And again, in the new comment section, he asked under one of those posts, he or she, hey, Randy, do you think it's objective for me to re-enter? And I said, yeah, I'm not crazy about it, but yes, I think it's objective because I had NG at support at the time. And the trend, we're still moving in an uptrend, and I'm going to assume, unless I see something to the contrary, that this is just a correction off. I expect to pull back off that first target, or expected it, and so far that's what we had. So next swing target's up here, 1653, and my reply was that it was right here this morning. I said, yes, I do think it's objective because NG is at the 2.297 support level. Trades out to the nearest 300ths or hundredths decimal there, or thousandths, I should say. So that's it right there. You can see it's a nice support level, and the trend line's kind of been choppy and sliced through. Forget about the trend line. This one's in an uptrend right now. Those are your lows, higher lows and higher highs. It just needs to get up there and pop above this the recent highs. It hit that 389 target recently, the same time UGAZ hit the target, and so that was resistance, was my a target. And if we can power on through there, take it out, then you can see my next target's all the way up here, about 248 to about 250 or so, resistance zone. That was a former target zone for this short trade right here. When I had the divergent high, there was your sell signal, and that was a target zone there, which it far exceeded. So watch, rinse, repeat stuff, guys. It's pretty, to me, I just look back, bigger picture, 60-minute charts. That's why I love swing trading the 60-minute charts. Look for the divergent highs and lows. They're not buy signals by themselves, but what is a buy or sell signal is when you have a divergent high with a nice clean trend line, you short the breakdown. When you have a divergent low with a nice clean downtrend line and positive divergence, you go long on the breakout. And that's it. All right, we'll wrap it up here. This has been Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart. Best of luck on your trades.